Hey everybody, it's Tara Green here. Sorry about the another technical snafu here I've had. I don't know if you can see me here now. I had it set up. It didn't seem to want to go, and I've been having sort of some technical difficulties since the new year started. So give me a second here to just get this heads up. Hold on a minute. Let me just see if you can see me. So let me know if you can see me. It says that I'm live now. Hey everybody. Okay. So please come and join me. Sorry, I've had some technical difficulties here. Yes, and my camera's going the wrong way. Can you hear me okay? Okay, hold on a second. All right. So I just want to know if you can hear me okay, because I can't see, I can see myself on the live feed here, but I can't see anybody checking in for some reason. Okay. Hi, everybody. Tara Green here. I'm Agent 129 of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency, and I will be bringing you, hold on, just let me get set up here. I will be bringing you January's astrology, and also, I just want to get my phone set up here. I wasn't planning to do it this way. Okay, sorry about the technical snafus again. I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, so I want to welcome you. Happy New Year, everybody. It's January 2026. It's going to be an amazing year. You know, we all made it through 2025, and we're still here, and we all signed up for this, you know. So I am Agent 129, Tara Green in Toronto, Canada. Cosmic Intelligence Agency is sourced in Melbourne, Australia. So please come on and say hi. Can you hear me? Okay. Please come on and say hi. I had to kind of jump onto my phone. I don't usually do it this way, and I'm smudging everybody virtually as they come on. So I just want to explain, if you've never been here before, or if you're a fan of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to break down all of the major astrology aspects, and there was a lot of them just in January. Everybody's sort of been talking about 2026, of course, for a long time. I'm going to do very general, kind of a little bit of, what signs, which you probably all know about if you've been watching Cosmic Intelligence Agency for a while. And then I've got my tarot cards here. So I'm going to use two decks. This is my Thoth deck. This is my usual go-to deck. We're in a number 1 year. Of course, January 1st, 2026 is 111, somebody pointed out. And so it is a magician year in the tarot. So the magician in the tarot is Mercury. It is our minds, it's our consciousness, it is dual-natured. So it's the conscious and the unconscious mind here, and how we're going to use our positive intention to create the magic that we want. In any situation, in any scenario, we can turn it into magic, okay? I've got all my notes here, and there's a lot of them for January. Okay, so I'm going to read those all off, and then at the end of that, I will do the tarot card readings with this deck, plus a little extra deck here called the In-Between Tarot, which is kind of a funky little deck, as we're kind of, in betwixt and in between here, right? Okay, and I will smudge everybody again, and I'll use my special Herkimer diamond crystal, which I use for dreaming and focusing psychic energy. So I hope you all had a wonderful New Year. It's pretty cold and windy up here in Toronto, Canada, and we're in for a very major year. So just to recap a little bit, 2025, I called it the appetizer year to get us ready for this year, to have 4 or 5 planets change sign last year in 1 year. Hasn't happened in over 4,000 years, and then we're getting ready for that massive shift as Neptune returns to Aries, Saturn returns to Aries, and they meet. I keep repeating this date, February 20th, 2026 at 0 degrees of Aries. It's like the okay sign, right? And those two planets have not met at 0 Aries in over 6,000 years. And I have that chart that Cassandra Butler, one of the other astrologers, cosmic agents here, showed me. Actually, I went to visit her recently, and she had done her sleuthing and done that work. So, and then of course Uranus will enter Gemini, and Jupiter is going to move from Cancer into Leo, and there's eclipses, 4 eclipses each year, but there's so much going on in January. I think we better just head right into it, okay? Now, the beginning of January, if you're a Capricorn, this is your time, okay? Because there's going to be a very rare alignment of the Sun, Venus, and Mars together, sort of mid degrees of Capricorn. The month starts with the Moon, Venus, Mars, and Mercury all moving out of bounds. So I'm a big fan of working with out of bounds planets. It's where the planets move beyond the declination of 23 degrees, 25 minutes, which is the angle of the sun, right? So the planets the sun can never do that, of course, unless the Earth's axis tilt, which we hope it doesn't. But all the planets, that's so much out of bounds. Now, if you're born with out of bounds planets, it means you're a bit of a wild one. You're a rebel. You don't march to the drummer of everybody else. You're always breaking through boundaries. So we're all in this kind of wild state right now. Okay, now, Mercury changes sign twice this month. Venus and Mars both enter Aquarius. Neptune re-enters Aries, and Chiron turns direct in a couple of days. So January the 1st, I'm going to go day by day here. Mercury squares Neptune, so you might be feeling a little foggy or definitely hungover. Happy New Year from Buffalo. Okay, great. Let me know where you are. That was at 5:33 a.m. PDT, 8:33 a.m. EDT, 1:33 p.m. GMT at 29 Pisces, you know, the very last karmic critical degree of the zodiac, which we've all been feeling. You know, I would say that 2025 has been a very, very difficult year for a lot of people. Very hard emotionally, lots of major changes, lots of losses, and we're hoping that 2026 will be much better going into a number one year. Mercury entered Capricorn today at 1:11 p.m. 1:11 p.m. EDT, PDT, 4:11 p.m. EDT, 9:11 p.m. GMT at 29 Pisces again. Did I just say that? Okay. Mercury enters Capricorn, all right, as well. Chiron turns direct tomorrow at 6:38 a.m. PDT, 9:38 a.m. EDT, 2:38 a.m. GDT at 22 degrees, 36 minutes of Aries. And it has been retrograde since July the 30th. It went retrograde at 27 degrees, 10 minutes Aries. So all of these very long months of deep, you know, Chiron retrograde, which it does every year for about 5 months, but this one has been extremely intense because it was squaring Jupiter, so a lot of deep family issues, a lot of drama came up. So all of that deep healing and crying and releasing that we've been doing for the last 5 months can now begin to move forward. That's a good thing. Okay. On the 3rd, there's a full moon, 2:03 a.m. PDT, 5:03 a.m. EDT, 9:03 a.m. GMT at 13 degrees of Cancer, which is conjunct the beautiful, biggest, brightest star in the sky called Sirius, which is what the Egyptians worshipped. It's the myth of Isis and Osiris being put back together. And it's conjunct the U.S. sun. So that would be a very interesting full moon, a culmination. The sun also opposes Mars and Venus and conjuncts Jupiter widely, but it's there. So that's a very powerful coming up in a couple of days. Also on the 3rd, Venus is Cazimi. There's 3 or 4 different Cazimis in the next week or so. It's a star point. You know, Yulia Simas, who heads the CIA, this is her expertise, Venus star points. It's at 16 degrees, 22 minutes Capricorn at 8:38 a.m. PDT, 11:38 a.m. EDT, 4:38 p.m. GMT. That's a new turning point in the Venus cycle since the last star point in 2024, which was in Gemini. So, you know, Venus she traces out a pentagram, a 5-pointed star, which is what the symbols of pagans worship because it's always about worshiping Venus, every 8 years. And that's why the number 8 is sacred, right? Every culture worshiped Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, harmony, the arts, and war, traditionally. Now, on the 7th, Venus conjunct Mars. So that's a very good time to do potions. Also, every Cazimi is very, very powerful. If you don't know what a Cazimi is, it's when any planet is considered to be sitting at the heart of the sun. So it gets a big golden blessing from the sun. So on those times, and they're very tight, very specific, the sun has to be within 17 seconds of the exact center of the sun. Sometimes they only last a few hours. It depends on how fast, of course, that planet is moving. But it's a great time to do magic spells. Okay, so pay attention to those. Okay, very powerful. You know, the sun, of course, amps up everything. So Venus conjunct Mars, 6:43 p.m. PDT, 9:43 p.m. EDT, and then on the 8th at 2:43 a.m. GMT. So it's good love spell, the lovers and the tarot inner balance. It's at 18 plus degrees of Capricorn. It's very auspicious for love. If you have any planets at 18 Capricorn, remember, Cazimis are extremely tight. Has to be pretty exact for you to get the direct benefits, but in general, it's a very good thing. On the 9th, Mars has a Cazimi. So Mars is sitting in the heart of the sun at 19 degrees 09 Capricorn, 3:41 a.m. PDT, 6:41 a.m. EDT, 11:41 a.m. GMT. It's a Mars reset as well. So it's very auspicious for long-term goals in Capricorn. And Mars is considered to be exalted in Capricorn. So again, If you're born, excuse me, with the sun or any planets at 19 Capricorn, very good for you. On the 9th, also, Venus opposes Jupiter. Got to get out your copper here. Venus's metal is copper. Jupiter's metal is tin. It just sort of jumped into my head to say wear copper, use copper, work with copper utensils, drink out of copper cups. You know, you want to amp up that Venusian energy. I have a tattoo of Venus's symbol in copper. It's big family love time. 9:35 a.m. PDT, 12:35 p.m. EDT, 5:36 p.m. GMT at 20 plus. Capricorn, Cancer, again, tradition, money, wealth. It's good for home, families, children. Somebody's saying, I have Davis at 18 Capricorn. I don't know what Davis means. January the 10th, the sun opposes Jupiter, 12:42 a.m. PDT, 3:42 a.m. EDT, 8:42 a.m. GMT at, again, 20 degrees. So these, you know, latter, right at the end of the second decan of Capricorn, they're really getting that impact. So if you're born 20 days, 20 days into Capricorn, you're getting this full impact. On the 10th, Mars opposes Jupiter. That's a bit of a battle. 6:25 a.m. PDT, 9:25 a.m. EDT, 2:25 p.m. GMT. It's a war signature. Now, a lot of astrologers are talking about this. It is pretty much, you know, it's happening. We don't like it, but it's happening. So be prepared. Okay, 20 degrees Capricorn, Cancer. But also, if you have planets at 20 degrees Libra, Aries, you're going to feel that impact too. January 11th, Venus squares Chiron in Aries, 8:13 a.m. PDT, 11:13 a.m. EDT, 4:13 p.m. GMT. Again, vulnerability in love. January the 12th, Sun squares Chiron again. So there could be some vulnerability and also very strong defensiveness, which again could be a war signature. You know, war is defenses. 23 plus degrees. 12:32 p.m. PDT, 3:22 p.m. EDT, 8:22 p.m. GMT, and then Mars squares Chiron on the 13th. So again, because Venus and Mars are so close together, you know, we get these repeat aspects. It's almost like, you know, threes are always very powerful in dreams, in fairy tales. You know, you have to knock 3 times. So we're getting knocked 3 times to open up, to be more vulnerable. 2:33 p.m. PDT, 5:33 p.m. EDT, 8:33 p.m. GMT. It's at 23 degrees of Capricorn, so we're moving up here. On January the 11th, Mercury opposes Jupiter. This can be good for writing, for communicating, for really opening up to your feelings a bit more. You know, Mercury in Capricorn can be quite unemotional. 12:17 a.m. PDT, 3:17 a.m. EDT, 8:17 a.m. GMT at 20 plus degrees. On the 14th, Venus sextiles Saturn. That's a nice positive aspect, 10:19 p.m. PDT. On the 15th at 1:19 a.m. EDT and 6:19 a.m. GMT at 26 plus Capricorn, Pisces. Okay. On the 15th, Venus trine Uranus. Now, if you're into crypto or you're watching the stock market, this is one to watch. 7:22 a.m. PDT, 10:22 a.m. EDT, 3:22 p.m. GMT at 27 degrees. Of Earth, right? So any Earth signs as well, Virgo as well. Venus is money and Uranus is the internet. It is computers. So, you know, if you're going to kind of really buy into Bitcoin, that could be a new high for it. It's been quite low for the last while. On the 15th, Mercury squares Chiron again, 10:21 p.m. PDT. On the 16th at 1:21 p.m. EDT, 6:21 p.m. GMT at 22 degrees. On the 17th, a nice romantic day again, Venus sextile Neptune. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, so when these two are in a positive, nice aspect, again, the 29th degree, very powerful, critical degrees. But if you want to be creative, if you want to launch a song, you want to write a poem, you want to start an art project, you want to give to charity as a way of getting back love, that would be a good one too. 12:33 a.m. PDT, 3:33 a.m. EDT, 8:33 a.m. GMT. Okay, on the 17th, Venus enters Aquarius. So Venus goes from wearing her business suit to being very radical, rebellion. There can be, again, Venus rules money. Again, Aquarius rules the internet. So there can be computer issues as well coming up. Venus in Aquarius, 4:43 a.m. PDT, 7:43 a.m. EDT, 12:43 p.m. GMT. Again, NVIDIA might go up, all of those big tech stocks, or you're going to hear in the news stuff about that. On the 17th, Sun trine Uranus. So this is all very Uranian, rebellion, revolution, protest, 8:59 a.m. PDT, 11:59 a.m. EDT, 4:59 p.m. GMT. Again, crypto, 27 degrees. Sun trine Uranus, right? So late Capricorn, and to Uranus at 27 degrees of Taurus conjunct Algol. That's why I think crypto's been down, is because of that Algol conjunction. On the 17th, Mercury conjunct Mars. Again, a good time to speak. Whatever you're angry about, really state your will there. 11:40 p.m. PDT. On the 18th at 2:40 a.m. EDT, at 7:40 a.m. GMT, at 25 plus degrees Capricorn. Again, remember, Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So again, if you're wanting to build up a big business resume or make a big statement about your work, business, corporations, government, that's good to work with. Now, on the 18th, there's a new moon, 11:52 a.m. EDT, 2:52 p.m. EDT, 7:52 p.m. GMT, at 28 Capricorn, 44 minutes. Again, right at the latter degrees, that's virtually 29 Capricorn. And the planets are all lined up in these very rare configurations. Pluto sextiling Saturn, and Neptune sextiling Uranus. These are very rare long-term aspects, really, driving home how unusual these times are. They say, may you be born in unusual times. Well, this is it, folks. So again, on a new moon, new intentions, very practical. Capricorn is practical, long-term goals. On the 18th, Mercury sextiles Saturn, 8:09 p.m. PDT, 11:09 p.m. EDT. On the 19th at 4:09 a.m. GMT. And then Mercury trines Uranus. Again, anytime we're dealing with Uranian energy and Mercury, stock markets, crypto goes up, gets affected. 9:39 p.m. PDT on the 19th of January, 12:39 a.m. EDT, 5:39 a.m. GMT. I see there's more people coming on now, so welcome. I'm Tara Green. I'm Agent 129 in Toronto, Canada. Please let me know where you are. And then on the 19th, it's Aquarius season, and all the planets are going to slowly move into Aquarius, and they're going to bundle up their Aquarian bundle of energy. Aquarius is like lightning bolts. I think about Tesla when I think about Aquarius. 5:45 p.m. PST, 8:45 a.m. EDT on the January the 20th at 1:35 a.m. GMT. And then on the 19th, Venus conjuncts Pluto. Now that is a big red letter day. That is a huge power issue. 8:04 p.m. PDT, 11:04 p.m. EDT, January the 20th at 4:04 a.m. GMT at 3 degrees, 19 minutes Aquarius. Again, stock markets, this is power. Pluto rules wealth. So it could be really about investing in yourself, investing in yourself in a new way, breaking out, breaking free. This is really creating a whole new identity, the way you want to look. Venus rules your values, it rules beauty, it rules your image in a way, right? Okay, but so Venus conjunct Pluto could be big power issues in the world, though, too, depending on, again, which countries are affected by 3 degrees, 4 degrees Aquarius. January 19th, Saturn sextiles Uranus. Again, Saturn holds down. We're still under the rule of Saturn because Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius, and I do use both traditional and modern rulerships. So Saturn sextiling Uranus, they both rule Aquarius. So again, crypto stuff. 9:19 p.m. PDT, January 20th, 12:19 a.m. EDT, 5:19 a.m. GMT. And on the 19th, Mars trines Uranus. Again, very Uranian, lots of breakout, lots of rebellion, revolution. I believe in Iran, the people are really protesting. They want to bring down the old Islamic empire there. Mars trine Uranus and sextile Saturn, and that happens within 9:59 p.m. PDT, like within 5 minutes, right? So that's very powerful. You might want to tune into that energy. It's like a little shock to wake you up. January the 20th, 12:56 to 1:02 a.m. EDT, and 5:26 a.m. to 6:02 a.m. GMT. And then on the 20th, Mercury enters Aquarius. So again, our minds are getting very revved up. Things are going very fast. We're feeling more detached. We've been in those big grand water trines, for most of 2024. Now we get to be much more detached and chill out. 8:41 a.m. PDT, 11:41 a.m. EDT, 4:41 p.m. GMT. And then on the 21st, Mercury is in the heart of the sun. Again, this is great for writing or channeling or, really speaking your truth. It's like golden blessings. 7:59 a.m. PDT, 10:59 a.m. EDT, 3:59 p.m. GMT. It's at 1 degree 37 Aquarius, right? And then Mercury conjuncts Pluto the next day. 9:15 a.m. PDT, 12:15 a.m. EDT, 5:15 p.m. GMT. That's a big power, mental issues, the mind, really expanding your mind. Pluto Pluto, you know, moves through all the realms. He's a psychopomp. You get to go into the underworld, into your shadow side. It's a great time to really unearth some shadow aspects you haven't seen before, but it's also, again, big power talks. Communication snappers, could be web blackouts. On the 22nd, Mars sextiles Neptune, again, very creative, romantic, idealistic, psychic, good for psychic practice. 1:39 p.m. PDT, 4:39 p.m. EDT, 9:39 p.m. GMT. On the 23rd, what did I write there? I think I made a little error there. It says on the 23rd, 1:39 a.m. GMT. Okay, Mars enters Aquarius on the 23rd, 1:17 a.m. PDT, 4:17 a.m. EDT, 9:17 a.m. GMT. And then on the 23rd, it's the Pluto Kazemi time. Sun conjunct Pluto, super powered, okay? 2:28 a.m. PDT, 5:28 a.m. EDT, 9:28 a.m. GMT, 3 degrees, 25 minutes Aquarius. These are big power struggles in the world. This could be a war signature as well. Digital ID could be rolled out. Crypto can crash or go sky high. Huge power struggles. Okay, so these are very dangerous in a way. I would be careful traveling actually on these times. I know Yuli has been doing a lot of astrocartography, looking at where the planetary lines cross. I would definitely do that. On the 26th, big day, Neptune re-enters Aries at 9:37 a.m. PDT, 12:37 p.m. EDT, 5:37 p.m. GMT to stay until 2039. So this is the beginning of the firing up of all kinds of new dreams, new spirituality, new creativity, new energy in religion, imaging, oil. You know, the last time Neptune entered Aries in 1861, you know, the Civil War started the next day. And, you know, Neptune first entered Aries on March 23rd, 2024. So think back about where you were then. This is a repeat, okay? We're moving forward. We're steadily moving into the Aries era, okay? On the 27th, Mars conjunct Pluto. Now, that's a very, very difficult, dangerous transit at 3:02 p.m. PDT, 6:02 p.m. EDT, 11:02 p.m. GMT. That is a war signature. It is very heavy power plays. 3 degrees, 34 minutes of Aquarius. Now, if you have planets squaring those degrees, I just want to mention that. At 4 degrees of Taurus, Leo, or Scorpio, you're going to be in that mix. Okay, so watch out for that one. On the last day, last aspect here, Mercury conjunct Venus, very nice, again, speaking from your heart, being very creative. On the 29th, excuse me, 2:17 a.m. PDT, 5:17 a.m. EDT, 10:17 a.m. GMT at 2 degrees of Aquarius. Okay, so if you stuck with me this long, thank you very much. And now I'm going to do the tarot cards. So I'm going to smudge everybody. We're going to go into a sacred space now. So what I want everybody to do, if you can just take a deep breath and put your hands on your heart and just kind of tune in to whatever it is that you need to know about right now. So I'm going to do, even though I've been talking about January astrology, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, this is for the year ahead. Okay, so I think it's good to do a preview of what's going to happen for each sign. Now, of course, we know that Aries is really stepping into its own power right now. So we're going to start with Aries. I'm going to go through to Pisces, and I'll give you an extra helper card too. So Aries, are you ready to totally jump into the fire and to lead the way for the next 14 years? Okay. Whatever planets you have in Aries are going to be hit by Saturn over the next 2.5 years and Neptune over the next 14, 15 years. Okay. So Aries, let's see what you got here. So Aries, the warrior, the leader, the king, or the emperor in the tarot. Okay. Do you get the high priestess here? So this is very interesting. The number 2, the high priestess, is about balance, okay? Because Aries is all about me. The keyword for Aries is I am. But we don't work in isolation. And if we're all jumping into the fire in that typical Aries, impatient, you know, I don't care about anybody else. We're not going to get anywhere. We're just going to, you know, devolve here. So balance, listening to your dreams, listening to your intuition. You know, fire is connected to intuition, right? It's spirit. It traditionally represents spirit. So listen to your dreams, listen to your intuition, try to cultivate a balanced way, okay, to move forward. Okay, so let's give you an extra helping card here as well, Aries. You're going to be under a lot of pressure, okay? And also Neptune can really throw a big wrench at you, put you in the fog, you know? All right, so this one. it's called the maze. Okay, okay, so the maze. So if you find yourself in a maze or feeling like you're running around in circles, again, I would think that the energy of the high priestess is important. She's about balance, okay? And she's the moon, okay? So really, and the way through the labyrinth, in a way, I could say, is by trusting your intuition, which is the whole story about the classic Greek myth. Okay, so that's for Aries. Aries rising, sun, moon, whatever planets you have in Aries. Okay, nodes, etc. All right. So Taurus, let's see what Taurus is going to get here. Okay. So again, all of the late Earth signs, mid-Earth signs right now, January is getting all that energy positively from all those Kazimis. Okay, you get the card of the sun here, Taurus. Okay, so this is the highest energy card in the deck, number 19. Follow your bliss, do what lights you up, do what makes you positive, shine brighter, Taurus, okay? Uranus is going to move out of your sign at the end of April to stay in Gemini, so you've all had your butts kicked by by Uranus since 2018. This is where you bring it all together, I would say. You know, again, do what turns you on. If it's been like a dark night of the soul, which I think that's what collectively we've been through, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and now you can really shine your brightest. So really, you know, it's like the light bulb is on, the big light bulb, the sun. You know, what did you learn? You know, what is your new brightness? What makes you shine brighter now? Okay. All right, so the sun is about connecting to your source. Gold, buy gold. I mean, gold's gone through the roof, actually. Wear gold. It's very enhancing. It's very empowering. And Taurus loves beautiful things like that. Okay, so Taurus, let's see what else you got here. Let's give you an extra card here. This is called the Inner Guide. It looks like David Bowie from the Labyrinth, right? So listening to your inner guidance. And that's what the sun technically represents. The sun is your inner source, right? We've just been through a hermit year. The light always symbolizes your inner source, your inner light. Okay. All right. So Taurus. All right. So Gemini. Now Geminis have to get ready because when Uranus jumps back into Gemini, it's going to be there for the next 7 years till 2033. So Geminis, again, balance. Interesting. So here's the parallel, you know, like Aries got balance, Gemini's getting balance. Those are the two signs that are going to be mainly featured the most this year. Relationships. So thinking about self and other, you know, Gemini can also be dualistic. You know, all the air signs are dualistic actually in nature. This is Libra energy, justice. There might be some legal issues that you're going to have to deal with. You may be in a new partnership, which of course, you know, Uranus coming into your sign is going to change everything. That could be divorce court, that could be new relationships. Again, thinking about how you achieve balance, because that's what all the dualistic energy is all about. The key is the middle path. That's what the Buddha taught. You know, again, it could be a new aesthetic, changing the way you look, changing your approach, changing how you think, of course, right? Revolutionizing the world, you know, coming into the world to bring justice. And lots of people feel justice needs to be brought forward. So Gemini, you're the spokesperson, you're the curious, you know, asking all the questions. So maybe you're the ones who are supposed to bring justice into the world. Communications, siblings, short travels, that Gemini rules all that as well. Okay, and children. Okay. So let's see what Gemini has here. All right, so Gemini. Okay, Gemini. Purpose. Okay, so purpose is a very important. It's got this cool kind of dragon in it. For all of you who like dragons, Stranger Things, The Hobbits, all that stuff, I think Geminis like all that kind of stuff. Mythology. So what is your purpose, Gemini? You know, it's kind of like Alice in Wonderland, where the caterpillar is smoking the hookah, sitting on the mushroom, the magic mushroom, saying to Alice, what is your purpose? Who are you? So I think Geminis, you're going to have to really question that, you know, question that big time. You know, what am I really here to do? Maybe it's a little bit of a grow up time as well. You know, Saturn Aries is also going to be sextiling you to kind of get serious, get more mature, you know, do your work. Okay. All right. So let's get to Cancer now. Now Jupiter is still in Cancer, where it is exalted as well. And Mars is in Capricorn. They are going to have an opposition. But let's see what is Cancer's purpose. Now for I do seem to attract a lot of women asking about fertility issues, and so I keep telling Cancers that you're going to be very fertile till the end of June, when Jupiter enters Leo. Okay, but anybody who has planets in Cancer, again, especially that 13 degrees of Cancer coming up in a couple of days, right? That's very important, Cancerian energy. All right, so Cancers, you get the Hangman here. Now, the Hangman is one of 3 special cards in the tarot. It's like an initiation. It's like an emotional baptism, like Cancers need more emotions, right? But this is where you learn to let go, Cancer. You know, you try to mom everything. You try to be in control. You need to nurture. Maybe you have to let go of that, let go of a family situation that's hung up, that you're hung up on, and let it go and allow and trust. And it's also about not being the martyr. Cancers tend to be martyrs, okay? Not doing that anymore, okay? And letting go and allowing, okay? You don't have to be a doormat. You don't have to be the scapegoat. You know, scapegoats are connected to Capricorn, by the way. But so this is the opposite, okay? So letting go, an emotional baptism, big cleansing time, okay? That's Cancer. Okay, so Cancers, let's see what else you get here. You get temptation. So be careful, because I think, you know, there can be an addiction into nurturing people, into emotions. And so be careful to look at where this might be something that you're tempted to go back on, or an old habit, if you're trying to break a habit. Or yeah, people do New Year's resolutions, but it isn't really the new year. And anybody who really knows astrology knows that this is an arbitrary, you know, Gregorian, Julius Caesar created this artificial calendar to honor the god Janus, who looks in 2 directions. But the real new year is March 21st, when the sun enters Aries, or whatever day it does enter Aries. Sometimes it's the day before or after, but it's usually the 21st, which is also National Astrology Day. So don't worry about your addictions. And sometimes when you try to quit things, they get stronger. Everybody knows that too. But again, the answer is to just let go and allow. Okay, that's the Hangman. All right, so Leo. So Leos, you have to kind of get ready to be center stage again when Jupiter enters Leo later this year. So Leos, okay, you get the Death card here, the number 13. So if you're born in those first 4 days of Leo, Pluto is opposite your sign, okay? So Leos, it's about letting go of old habits. A lot of people are doing a lot of letting go emotionally. This is Scorpio energy, letting go of control. Seeing how you use power in a new way, seeing how you've used power that might have worked against you. You might have shot yourself in the foot, you know. It's also finances, looking at your financial situation, doing some deep psychological dives. You know, people are talking about self-regulation and trauma all the time, and maybe some trauma is coming up right now that needs to be healed as well, with Jupiter in Cancer, which is in technically your 12th house in a Leo rising chart. So letting go, allowing finances. Maybe you got to be careful about your finances too, because in you know, January's astrology is also quite dire, I would say. But rebirth, renewing, letting go, everything's always new. Okay. All right. So let's see what Leo's got. Leo. Let's see what you've got here. You've got prophecy. Okay, nice little array of planets there with some constellations. So this is saying maybe it's the death of the old ego and getting into learning how to be very intuitive. Happy birthday. Getting into being very intuitive, listening to your dreams, seeing the bigger cosmic picture, you know, because Leo is the king who wants to have their will done. And Pluto in Aquarius is saying, no, it's not about just your will. It's like how you benefit everybody. Okay, so prophecy. Maybe you've never believed in it. Maybe you've never thought about it before. It's very common for people to have prophetic dreams, right? So what is your gift of prophecy? Okay. So now Virgo. All right. So Virgo, let's see what you've got coming up for 2026. All right. So Virgo. You get number 20. So this is the rebirth card. This is the Aeon, it's called. This is usually called Judgment Day. I know lots of born-again Christians want Judgment Day. This is about the archetype of rebirth, which is, you know, what Jesus represents as well. It's an ancient myth. So how are you judgmental on yourself? Now, of course, Virgos can be the most judgmental signs, the most critical, you know, the hardest on themselves. They're, you know, sort of their own worst critic. So maybe you need to let go of that, you know, for 2026. Maybe you need to rise again. So this could be an aspect of your health, your work, community, pets, all of those things that Virgos rule money issues, poverty, you know, how you serve everyone. So there's a rebirth coming here, and somehow this feels very powerful. I feel like there's like psychic energy coming to help you, Virgo. You need to kind of tune into that. You need to visualize yourself being reborn in a new way, because everything's possible right now. You know, 2026, all that Aries energy is like a brand new fire. You can forge your new identity in a brand new fire. Okay? So rebirth, letting go, stop being judgmental on yourself. That's preventing you from growing to your highest potential, Virgo. Okay. So Virgo, let's give you an extra helping card here. You get the Ascent. So this is about ascension. So that one goes very well, but the other one, so Virgos, are you ready to ascend? Now, ascension is an internal thing where you connect with your higher self. You're not leaving your body. I know lots of people are talking about going to the fifth dimension. We're not going anywhere else. Lots of people are talking about the split in the earth realm, which I've heard about since the 70s, actually. And it's a consciousness split. Those who see the bigger picture, who understand your consciousness, creates everything. You know, quantum physics is now backing that up. Really understanding how you create your reality. And that's where the ascension is all about. There's also the descension of spirit, right? Spirit descends into the body. And Virgo is very body oriented, right? So this card here, it's a very interesting little symbol here, if you can see that. It's quite archetypal symbol. Ascending into a higher knowing. You know, Virgo is very intellectual, analytical, very detail oriented. So maybe channeling in some new energy, some new information for everyone to be of service. Okay. So Libras. Now, when all the planets, well, not all the planets, when Saturn and Neptune enter Aries, it's going to affect Libras. Okay. So let's see what Libras have for 2026. Okay, you get the Hierophant, the number 5 card. Now this is sacred to Venus, of course, because the 5 represents the pentagram here, her sacred star. Libra's ruled by Venus, and there she is at the center of this card. So it's about being very grounded. It's about speaking your truth. You know, that Aries-Libra dichotomy is very good for Libra, because Libras need to balance and think more about themselves. You know, just like Aries needs to think more about others, Libra always thinks about others. They need to balance by thinking more about themselves. So, speaking your truth, standing up for women's rights, standing up for property rights, standing up for body rights, standing up for whatever you feel is right. Okay, Libra. Okay. Can be a whole makeover as well, you know, because as we're going into Aries with Neptune there, Neptune is Venus's higher octave, kind of new aesthetic sense coming up here. So again, a sense of it's very powerful. Use the fire to kind of really give you strength, I would say. Okay. All right. So somebody just asked me about this Oracle deck. It is not an Oracle deck. It's called the In-Between Tarot. It was kind of a little special deck that I was given as I was part of a tarot group years ago, and I believe it's published. This was just the precursor of that deck, but I kind of like it. I don't usually use Oracle decks, but anyway, this is called Transition. So it's about death. It's between death and temperance. So this is what this deck is all about. It's very clever. In between one stage and the next, the person who created this deck decided to create these little in-between helper cards. So the transition from one state to the next, which is kind of interesting because, you know, Libra, Aries, Aries, Libra, and then that middle pillar, which is the transition state. So transitioning, getting ready to transition into something new. Okay. All right. So then, in this tarot card deck, so there you go. You can see that little deck there. All right. So now we're going to get on to Scorpio. So Scorpios. Again, 2026, you got to follow Mars through the year. You get the Lovers. Okay, so Scorpio, this is Gemini energy, so it's interesting. The Lovers, it's about maybe creating or stating a new love, a new purpose in your life, a new sense of balance. It can be creative partnerships in your life as well, not just romantic ones. So Scorpio, it's about lightening up as well. You know, Pluto in Aquarius, of course, is squaring early Scorpios as well. So again, I would say this is a good positive card. The number 6 is at the center of the Tree of Life, Scorpio. Rethink things, you know, come out with a new frame of mind. I think 2026 is all about new everything, okay? Allowing yourself to love, okay? All right, so let's give you an extra card here, okay? All right, so Scorpios. You get this card called Adolescence. Again, this Adolescence and Gemini. Isn't that a perfect combination there? Okay, because Gemini is the sign of children, having an open mind like a kid, asking questions, being very open-minded. So again, maybe it's something that you need to rebel about, all this Uranian rebellion stuff. That's something that you didn't do when you were a kid, or something that you need to rebel against, something that you need to find a new state of being with. Okay, now Sagittarius. So all of the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, are benefiting from the planets moving into Aries by trine, by a very positive energy here, and as well as all the air signs are benefiting from Uranus moving into Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius. So, okay. So Sagittarius, this is, I keep a couple of extra cards in this when I do these readings. This is, I like to call this the calling card from your holy guardian angel. This is your higher self, Sagittarius. So you definitely have to listen to your higher self. If you don't know what that is, people call it your holy guardian angel. It's the whole purpose of the tarot, is to connect with your higher knowledge or your inner gut instinct, or, fire is spirit. Connect to your spirit and listen to that and feel that protection of your guardian angel. So this can be your ancestors, definitely in your lineage of ancestors. Maybe you need to honor your ancestors more, really feel them protecting you, and understanding that, we are what the ancestors wish for. We need to keep creating to go into the future. We need to have future ancestors for us. Okay. Otherwise life stops. So this can be, my intuition is saying unpacking a riddle that's been bothering you for a while as well. Okay, meditation would be really good for you. Meditating, doing yoga, yin yoga, soft yoga, not hard yoga, to really listen to yourself and untangle something that's really been bothering you. Okay, so Sagittarius, let's give you an extra card here as well. You get this card called Flux. I think I mentioned the flux and the flow. So again, the flux is like going with the movement. As the wind blows, as the fire flames, you got to be adaptable, right? So influx just means that nothing's really solid right now. Okay, Sagittarius kind of like that. Okay, so Capricorn. So let's see what Capricorn's getting right now for 2026. Capricorn, let's see what you're getting. You get the universe. Okay, so this is a Capricorn card. This is Saturn. You can see there's Saturn's glyph on the card here. This is number 21. It's called the world. That means that Capricorns, especially with all of that Sun, Venus, Mars energy coming right now in January, it is like this is a completion stage for you. This is where you realize, okay, I've been through all the lessons starting with number 1, which we're just starting now, and I've gotten to 21. I've finished it. I've done the hard work. I faced all the obstacles, all the tests. I've worked real hard. That's what Saturn demands. How much do you really want it? Saturn will test you. And now you come back from the enlightenment to fetch water and do your laundry and pay your taxes and all that Saturn stuff, right? So, okay, been there, done that, Capricorn, moving on to something new. Okay, so Capricorn, let's give you an extra card here as well. Okay, Capricorns, you get a new order. Well, there you go. So what new things are you going to order? What new order are you going to establish since you've been through this enlightenment journey? This would be very nice if the world did this as well. Capricorn is the world point, the world sign, actually. A new order. Now, a new order can be a good thing or a bad thing. New order can be digital ID, can be government control. They're trying to do this. I don't want to get into the politics too much. Or it could be a whole brand new order of consciousness. If you're paying attention to 3i Atlas, lots of people are saying it's bringing a new kind of enlightenment, a new consciousness to us. All right. So, or get your life into a new order, Capricorn. Okay, so now Aquarius. Let's see what Aquarius has got here. All right, Aquarius. Now you get the art card, number 14. So again, this is like Sagittarius again. Again, Aquarius, it is the card of alchemy in this deck. It's usually called temperance. Again, that sense of balance. Everything is about balancing the complementary opposites. So Aquarius, this can mean riches. It can mean wealth. Alchemy is turning lead, which is Saturn, into gold, right, which is the sun. So the alchemical process is an internal one. It's a psychological one. So whatever's been holding you back, limiting you, being hard, Aquarius, you get to realize that it's inner riches, it's wealth, and it's going to help you to create something beautiful and new. Can be the sacred marriage card, Aquarius. You could be meeting your soulmate in the real sense. Somebody who's really totally complementary to you and that you become that for other people. So this is a very powerful card to get here, balancing the opposites, Aquarius. Okay, so Aquarius, let's see what you get here as well. Let's give you another helper card here. This is called trepidation. So trepidation means you just have to go carefully, you know, not fear, just being really conscious of what you're stepping on, where you're going, with the end results of things. It's kind of like a little bit of a karmic warning. It's interesting. She's like a kind of a, what is she here? Kind of like a mermaid. So something to do with the unconscious. So being careful of the unconscious forces that's going on as well in the world. I think it's, you know, we can't be naive about these things. Again, all the cards coming up about balance is about really understanding the polarities trying to pull everybody in one direction or another, but they're ultimately complementary, and we have to solve that battle within first. Okay, now Pisces. Okay, so you Pisces, of course, soon you're going to be out of the Saturn-Neptune era. The Neptune era that's been going on since 2011 is entering, and a lot of people are going to wake up very soon. Again, it's inevitable. So Neptune re-entering Aries on January the 26th. Okay, and the card of the moon. Now this is Pisces card. You can see the glyph there. This is the dark side of the moon, and this is exactly what collectively, the collective unconscious, which Pluto represents, this is exactly what we've all been going for. So it's like the dark night of the soul. This is where you're seeing the evil in the world, the darkness, like the degradation. It's all coming up to the surface so we can really see what's been going on. The wool's been pulled over our eyes. People are going to wake up. They're going to be incredibly angry as they wake up, which I think is a good thing, but you got to direct anger in a positive way. So the moon, it is a rebirth process for you, Pisces. It's been hard. It's been difficult. It's like a long, slow labor, which is necessary for a child to be born as natural as possible. It bonds the mother and the child, and you have to have faith that there's light at the end of the tunnel. So Pisces, yes, the light is coming soon, February 20th. Just hang in there a little bit longer, okay? Again, Pisces energy, completion. It's the end of an era. You know, again, Neptune hasn't been in Aries since 1861. We're completing a very long cycle now collectively as well. And Pisces rules the collective, the 12th house. We're going to get through this. We're almost ready to be born. Okay, now, so let's give Pisces an extra card here. All right, so Pisces, a portal. So this one says it's in between the Hermit, the number 9 and 10, which is exactly where we're at. Now, this is really interesting. Save the best for last, or portal. So 2026, the last oracle card here. It's not really an oracle card. It's a tarot deck, special tarot deck, the oracle. So we are all oracles. We have to become our own oracles, like Delphic oracles, Sibyls. They were Pythia. They worked with snakes, because snakes are incredibly powerful, chthonic earth energies. So we are in the portal, and we are the portal. So Pisces, understand this gateway. I'm picturing like peering into a black mirror to see what's going on, so you know exactly what's coming, listening to your intuition. Be the portal, be the transition, because really this is a portal. A rebirth is a portal. So we're all getting ready to be reborn now, folks. So I want to wish you all the best blessings for 2026. Please join the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. They have wonderful astrologers, webinars, ongoing learning for serious astrologers. And if you want to get in touch with me for a private reading, I'm at tarot.com. I'm going to be starting to do live workshops again as well. So wishing you all the best blessings for 2026. Remember, you are the magician and you are the magic. Okay? See you next month, and wishing you all the best blessings. All right, take care.